Okay, guys, so we're going to look a little bit about reading. It says Wampanoag diplomacy. And so you have this word diplomacy here, and that's when you kind of meet with another group of people and you work together to work things out. So you send somebody to talk to them and work things out. So that would be diplomacy. So we're going to read a little bit about this together, okay? All right, Wampanoag diplomacy. On March 16th, 1621, the English had a surprise visit from Samoset, a leader from the Abenaki people to the north. He stayed for several days, amazing them because he could speak English. One of the colonists wrote, "He was a man free in speech so far as he could express his mind and of seemly carriage." So that's an interesting sentence because that's kind of them talking how they would talk back then. "He had a bow and 2 arrows. The one headed and the other unheaded." So that means one has a point and one does not. So he came carrying 2 arrows. So as I'm reading, I'm going to be asking myself a question. Why is he carrying 2 different arrows? Why is that important? And I'm going to be looking for answers as I read. Okay. So Samoset was there to gather information. His 2 arrows, one blunt and one pointed, most likely carried a message. Will it be peace or war with these strangers? Samoset brought to Squantum, often called Squanto, one of the Wampanoag men who had been kidnapped by earlier English explorers. Squantum had returned to his homeland only to find that he was one of the last surviving people from Pawtuck's village. Squantum agreed to live among the colonists and act as a translator. So I want to think about what this says here. Like, to me, I think that when they first went there, the natives might not have known whether they were really going to make a peace treaty or not. And so I feel like they were bringing an option to the Pilgrims of either war or peace. And how I know that is if I'm looking at this here, I have to find a detail that shows how I know that. So I'm going to find a detail here, and it says, his 2 arrows, one blunt and one pointed, most likely carried a message. Will it be peace or war with these strangers? So because of that detail, it leads me to believe that they were going there to kind of ask a question and to make an offer. Is it going to be peace or is it going to be war? How do I know this? Because I found a detail that helps me understand that. So it's important to make sure that you can back up what you're saying with details from the reading. So we're going to go ahead and move on. And we are down here. Squantum agreed to live among the colonists and act as translator. Another Wampanoag, Penice, or warrior counselor, Hobbamuck, also moved his family to the site to keep an eye on the settlement. Diplomatic meetings held at Plymouth were arranged between Massasoit and the English governor, John Carver. So diplomatic, there's another big word there. But again, diplomacy has to do with meeting with somebody and figuring stuff out. So diplomatic meetings mean they're meeting together. So arranged between Massasoit and the English governor. So I think Massasoit must be somebody important. And how do I know that? Because if I look at the details, Massasoit and the English governor, John Carver, are meeting together. And I know a governor is an important person, so Massasoit must be an important person. It says they made a formal agreement including rules for contact between the English and the Wampanoag. This peace also included a military alliance should either side be attacked. So a military alliance means that you have an ally. So an ally is your friend in times of war. So A-L-L-Y. Sorry, that looks really bad. So your ally is a friend in time of war. So they're agreeing to be friends if somebody should get attacked. How do I know that? Because it says it right here. I can use this detail to prove what I'm saying. Okay, should either side be attacked. They have an alliance. It says both sides needed this alliance. The Wampanoags had lost many people to the plague and thought the English had powerful weapons. There were very few of them, Both sides likely thought that if they joined together, they could keep the Narragansett and other more powerful neighboring tribes from taking advantage of their vulnerable position. So this word here, vulnerable, means weak. So they're both weak. They're a weak position, so they're in a weak spot. This agreement was made in March of 1621. Shortly after this meeting, Carver died and was succeeded by William Bradford. It is likely that the English harvest of 1621 was the next occasion Massasoit traveled to the English town. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a closer look at this, or I'm going to ask you to take a closer look at this in the classwork section today. And I'm going to ask you to find a specific detail that might answer one of my questions.